pa, 253. Mom, singkong. Oh, okay. Oh, wala tayong, wala tayong.
Resume lang, boss.
Okay na? Session resumed. The Honorable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move we take up the additional reference of business and direct the Secretary General to read the titles of the bills of the said measures for proper, so they can refer them to the proper committee. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is so ordered.
Additional reference of business bills on first reading, House Bill 8476, renewing the franchise granted to Radius Telecoms Inc., Representative Herrera D.
To the Committee on Legislative Franchises.
House Bill 8478, allowing legitimate children to bear the surname of the father or the mother, Representative Villaperte.
To the Committee on Revision of Laws.
House Bill 8479, granting a franchise to Ismo Inc., Representative Romualdo.
To the Committee on Legislative Franchises.
House Bill 8480, providing for the separation of Mercedes B. Peralta Senior High School, Representative Escudero.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 8481, penalizing the posting of advertisement and campaign materials on public utility poles, wires, and cables, Representative Escudero.
To the Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms.
House Bill 8482, lifting the height restrictions for job applicants in both public and private sector, Representative Revilla.
To the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation and the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill 8483, amending the Consumer Act of the Philippines, Representative Villaperte.
To the Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill 8484, amending the Family Code, Representative Villaperte.
To the Committee on Revision of Laws.
House Bill 8485, requiring institutions of higher education to disclose participation in program support expenditures in colleges' athletic programs, Representative Villaperte.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill 8486, requiring hospitals to establish and implement security procedures, Representative Villaperte.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 8487, providing for an interim census of Filipinos residing abroad, Representative Villaperte.
To the Committee on Population and Family Relations.
House Bill 8488, providing for the Code of Professional Standards, Representative Villaperte.
To the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill 8489, providing for testing for the use without lawful authorization of alcohol or controlled substances, Representative Villaperte.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill 8490, prohibiting employment discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, Representative Villaperte.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill 8491, establishing the National Commission on Entrepreneurial Education, Representative Villaperte.
To the Committee on Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprise Development.
House Bill 8492, providing for a national folic acid education program, Representative Villaperte.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 8493, establishing maternal and infant health home visiting program, Representative Villaperte.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 8494, requiring the labeling of imported and meat food products, Representative Villaperte.
To the Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill 8495, requiring the Secretaries of Health and Labor to issue regulations to eliminate or minimize the significant risk of needle stick injury, Representative Villaperte.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 8496, protecting employees of travel sales crews, Representative Villapuerte.
to the Committee on Labor and Employment,
House Bill 8497, establishing national teacher academies, Representative Villapuerte.
to the Committee on Higher and Technical Education,
House Bill 8498, establishing a task force to recommend a uniform strategy to protect women against violent crime, Representative Villapuerte.
to the Committee on Women and Gender Equality,
House Bill 8499, requiring a report regarding the effects of environmental factors on women's health, Representative Villapuerte.
to the Committee on Women and Gender Equality,
House Bill 8500, protecting the right of the people to information about reproductive health care services, Representative Villapuerte.
to the Committee on Health,
House Bill 8501, allowing LGUs and the private sector to procure and administer COVID-19 vaccines, Representative C. Alvarado.
to the Committee on Health,
House Bill 8502, providing Magna Carta of the out-of-school youth, Representative C. Alvarado.
to the Committee on Youth and Sports Development,
House Bill 8503, granting discount privileges to medical frontliners, Representative C. Alvarado.
to the Committee on Health,
House Bill 8504, providing for revised Philippine Merchant Marine Officers Act, Representatives Villanueva, Eduardo, and Rivera.
to the Committee on Transportation,
House Bill 8505, renewing the franchise granted to the National Council of Churches in the Philippines, Representative Bolivares.
to the Committee on Legislative Franchises,
Resolutions. House Resolution 1497, congratulating and commending Mayor Vico and Soto, Representatives Gonzales and Lusotan.
to the Committee on Rules,
House Resolution 1498, imploring the DND to uphold the UP-DND 1989 Accord, Representative Gasataya.
to the Committee on Higher and Technical Education, and the Committee on National Defense and Security,
House Resolution 1499, mandating the COVID-19 IATF for the management of emerging infectious diseases, Representative Aumentado.
to the Committee on Health,
House Resolution 1500, congratulating Alexandra Alex Maniego Ayala, Representative Castelo.
to the Committee on Youth and Sports Development,
House Resolution 1501, urging the DND to restore the 30 June 1989 agreement with UP, Representatives Defensor, Michael, Belmonte, Amatong, several others.
to the Committee on Higher and Technical Education, and the Committee on National Defense and Security,
House Resolution 1502, urging the DOH to explore the efficacy of full-dose anticoagulation treatments to moderately ill patients hospitalized for COVID-19, Representative Castelo.
to the Committee on Health,
Message from the Senate, message dated January 25, informing the House that on even date, the Senate designated Senators Gatchalian, Binay, Marcos, Angara, and Hontiveros as conferees of the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 1877, House Bill 8145.
to the Committee on Rules,
Communications, letters from a provincial governor and city mayor submitting the reports of fund utilization, status of program projects, activities, implementation.
to the Committee on Appropriations,
Letters dated October 7 and December 14 of Michael G. Aguinaldo.
to the Committee on Appropriations,
Letter dated November 26 of Attorney Joel S. Estolatan.
to the Committee on Appropriations,
Letter dated November 23 of James B. L. Solas.
to the Committee on Local Government,
Memorandum dated 9 December of Secretary Carlito G. Galvez Jr.
to the Committee on Appropriations,
Letter dated December 10 of Cesar R. Duray.
to the Committee on Ways and Means,
Letter dated 11 December of Carl Kendrick T. Chua.
to the Committee on Appropriations,
Letter dated 11 December of BSP Governor Benjamin E. Jokno.
to the Committee on Banks and Financial Intermediaries,
Letter dated 14 December of Attorney Salvador C. Maliana III.
to the Committee on Basic Education and Culture,
Letter dated December 29 of Mario G. Lipana.
to the Committee on Appropriations. Honorable Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider bills under the calendar of business for Thursday and Friday, and pursuant to our rules, allow me to put forth an omnibus motion for the consideration of the following measures. House Bill number 8273 as under Committee Report 705, House Bill 8287 under Committee Report 706, House Bill 8377 under Committee Report 707, House Bill 8380 under Committee Report 708, House Bill 8384 under Committee Report 709, House Bill number 8440 under Committee Report 711, House Bill 8446 under Committee Report 712, and House Bill 8453 under Committee Report 713. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
There is an omnibus motion to approve the aforementioned items of bills. Is there any objection? Here hears none. The motion is approved. So please proceed, the Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate and consider the explanatory notes as the sponsorship of the said measures. And there being no member who wishes to interpolate on the said local bills, I then move that we terminate the period of sponsorship and debate.
Mr. Speaker. Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Michael Defensor of Party List Anak Kalusugan.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Kung maaari po sanang ipaliwanag yung aking point of order, if I can be given time to explain, Mr. Speaker, the point of order that I'm raising this afternoon.
Please state your point of order.
Thank you. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, dito po sa ating consideration sa mga agenda natin, ang isa po sa nakalahad po dito ay yung ating unfinished business. And if I may read, Mr. Speaker, the particular concern is the committee report on, ito pong committee report, numbered on House Bill 6732, an act granting the ABS-CBN Corporation a franchise to construct, install, operate, and maintain radio and television broadcasting stations in the Philippines and for other purposes. Ito pong bill na to ay nandito na po sa atin ng humigit kumulang, lampas na po siguro ng mga 3 buwan, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, bago tayo magkaroon ng konsiderasyon for the business of the day o yung pag-uusap ng mga batas na kailangan natin pag-usapan ngayon, Mr. Speaker, I would like to raise a point of order that the unfinished business of the ABS-CBN franchise be decided first before we take up any issue in plenary, Mr. Speaker. Unless, Mr. Speaker, there will be a debate on the rules at kung ano po ang tamang dapat gawin, pero malinaw na malinaw, Mr. Speaker, na nakasaad sa atin sa calendar of business natin na bago pag-usapan ng business for the day, bago pag-usapan ng anumang debate sa anumang batas, ay tapusin muna natin ang konsiderasyon ng mga items o mga batas sa ilalim ng unfinished business. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Session suspended.
Ano naman?
Session is resumed. The Honorable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, a while ago, the distinguished acting majority leader, Deputy Majority Leader X. Romualdo, moved that we take up business for Thursday and Friday. It's only Wednesday today, but he moved right away, take up business for Thursday and Friday, because he deemed that he wanted to get this out of our minds already, to finish this already. You asked if there was an objection, and there was no objection. So the presiding officer, which is you, the distinguished Deputy Speaker, said, okay, carry on with the business for Thursday and Friday. That is the status of the Parliament, of the plenary right now, Mr. Speaker.
Point well taken. The explanation of the Majority Leader is noted and accepted.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Lord Leader, please.
yes. Mr. Speaker, before your ruling, I understand and I accept the explanation of the Majority Floor Leader. That is precisely why what I raised was a point of order. A point of order because there should be a, in the order of tackling our business, and in the order of motions, there is an hierarchy. And the point of order is of the highest hierarchy. What I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, what we have here is an unfinished business. Ito pong ginagawa natin pagdidebate sa mabang panahon, marami nang naging batas na naaprubahan, pero ito pong unfinished business ay patuloy pa rin na nandyan sa unfinished business. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, before tackling any other issue, before entertaining any other motion, bago pag-usapan kung anong mga batas o kung anong pang motion, kailangan po sanang matapos muna natin yung ating pag-uusap. In particular, Mr. Speaker, again, I assert that the committee report conducted by the Committee of the Whole has been submitted for the longest time. Nandito na po sa atin yan, the unfinished business of the ABS-CBN franchise. And I'm calling, Mr. Speaker, that we either affirm the committee report and do away with that unfinished business before we continue with the other businesses of the day that we are considering as a plenary, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Defensor. The Chair will now rule on the point of order. As stated earlier, the Chair has sustained the explanation of the Honorable Floor Leader. Yes, we cannot take the point of order, so sustaining the explanation of the Majority Leader, the point of order is not taken.
Mr. Speaker, I appeal the ruling of the chair.
Session suspended.
The ruling of the chair. Huh?
Session resumed. The Senior Majority Leader, the Honorable Remulla, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. After conferring with the Honorable Defensor on his request for an assurance that the unfinished business shall be taken up on Monday, and since the presiding officer cannot give his word right now, but since he is not slated to be on the roster or on the podium on Monday, then it was already agreed upon with the Honorable Defensor that the assurance of the Senior Deputy Majority Leader is sufficient, that we will take up items in the unfinished business by Monday. We will start taking them up already, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Senior Majority Leader. Honorable Michael Defensor, what is your pleasure, Your Honor?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Una po sa lahat, nagpapasalamat ako sa kagalang-galang Boying Remulla sa kanya pong pananalita. And with that assurance, of course, Mr. Speaker, I'm very happy sa konsiderasyon na binigay niya. And because, Mr. Speaker, previous to the Honorable Remulla, the Majority Leader was the Honorable Arroyo. And now that you are the presiding officer, Mr. Speaker, with my highest respects, I will withdraw my appeal, Mr. Speaker, with that commitment. Maraming salamat po.
The appeal is withdrawn. Thank
Chair.
you, Congressman Defensor. The Honorable Majority Leader. The Honorable Belmonte is recognized, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I would just like to be clarified on this issue on behalf of the minority, Mr. Chair. I do recall that the rules do state that the order of business starts with unfinished business and then going down to the business of the day and other matters. However, on the section referring to unfinished business, it shall be tackled as much as practicable. That is as far as I understand it, and from my experience being a member of this House for the past 5 years, it is not obligatory or mandatory na tapusin po muna natin yung mga unfinished businesses before we go to the business of the day. I would just like to be clarified on this matter. When the Majority Leader moved that we tackle the business of the day and go on with other matters to be tackled by the House, urgent matters that concern the House, that means that although the unfinished business is part of the agenda, we are not obliged to take it up immediately, especially since there were special reasons for why these matters were part of the agenda but not taken up on the day. I would just like to be clarified on this matter on behalf of the minority, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
The manifestation of the Honorable Belmonte is well taken. Any
Mr.
slides
Speaker?
from our Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, before the Majority Floor Leader, if I may just read the particular section of the calendar of business. Letter B, business for the day. These are bills, resolutions, and other measures set on the calendar of business for the day by the Committee on Rules. They shall be considered as far as practicable. The business for the day can be considered as far as practicable in the order in which they are listed in the calendar of business and after the unfinished business. It is not the unfinished business which shall be considered as far as practicable, Mr. Speaker, as stated in Section 80 of the Rules of the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the guidance of our honorable colleagues, Mr. Speaker. Maraming salamat po.
The Honorable Floor Leader. Majority Floor Leader.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, just as a last word on this matter, the reason why we had to take up, we agreed to take up the business for Thursday and Friday is because a motion was filed earlier by the majority leader, which was approved by the body. That's why we are taking up those matters. But the unfinished business, as the nomenclature states, is unfinished and remains in the calendar of business. And as far as practicable, we shall endeavor to finish the unfinished business, Mr. Speaker. That is the job of the Office of the Majority Leader and the Deputy Majority Leaders, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the
After we have thoroughly discussed this matter, we now request the Majority Leader to proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just to refresh on the parliamentary status, we earlier moved that the sponsorship explanatory notes on the measures, the local measures mentioned, be adopted as a sponsorship of the said measures, and there being no member wishes to interpolate on the local bills, we move to terminate the period of sponsorship and debate. We reiterate our motion, Mr. Speaker, to terminate now the period of sponsorship and debate.
There is a motion to terminate the period of sponsorship and debate of the items already mentioned by the Honorable Majority Leader. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion to terminate sponsorship and debate is approved or carried. The Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments and approve the committee amendments, if any, as contained in the respective committee reports of the aforementioned bills.
There's a motion to open the period of amendment. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Speaker, I move that there being no individual amendments, I move that we terminate the period of amendments.
The motion to terminate the period of amendment. Is there any objection? Since there is no objection, the motion is approved.
Speaker, I move that we vote on second reading on the following House bills. House Bill number 8273, 8287, 8377, 8380, 8384, 8440, 8446, and 8451. So move, Mr. Speaker.
There is a motion to approve the House Bills 8273, 8287, 8377, 8380, 8384, 8440, 8446, 8453. As many as are in favor of this omnibus motion, please say aye.
Aye.
As many are as opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The aforementioned bills are now approved on second reading. Honorable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend. Because we are supposed to look for the sponsors of the measures to be taken up.
Session
We suspend
suspended.
for a minute.
Okay. Okay lang.
Si Michael. Wala. Yan, nandyan. Okay. PS lang isa kayo. PS lang.
Session is resumed. The Honorable Floor Leader.
Speaker, I move that we now consider on second reading House Bill number 7719 as contained in Committee Report 513 and that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the bill.
The Secretary General is directed to read the title.
House Bill 7719, an act mandating golf clubs to provide social security and welfare benefits to golf caddies and other related service workers through a shared contribution scheme.
The Honorable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate and recognize to sponsor the measure the author of the measure, Representative Mark Go of Baguio City.
The Honorable Mark Go, sponsoring committee chairman, is recognized. Please proceed, Your Honor. Via Zoom.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, my fellow colleagues. I have the honor of sponsoring this afternoon House Bill 7719, an act mandating golf clubs to provide social security and welfare benefits to golf caddies and other related service workers through a shared contribution scheme. There are currently around 93 golf courses in the country, and there are more than 800 caddies who work in a particular golf club. Golf caddies are those who assist golfers in carrying their bags, clubs, and other equipment while they play. These caddies undergo training usually provided by the club management, and they are subjected to the club's rules and regulations on caddy service. However, golf caddies and other related service workers are usually not employees of the private club or resort they work at. They are instead considered independent contractors or self-employed workers and are therefore not entitled to the government-mandated benefits from their association with the clubs. For many of these caddies, they grew old providing their service as their only means of livelihood. These members of the informal sector have for so long been vulnerable to many socioeconomic risks without any assistance from the golf clubs where they have been providing their service. House Bill 779 seeks to remedy this situation by mandating the enrollment and coverage of golf caddies and other related service workers under the SSS, Pag-ibig, and PhilHealth. The same bill was likewise filed and actually approved by this chamber on third and final reading in the last Congress, but for lack of material time did not push through at the Senate. Mr. Speaker and my honorable colleagues, I hope that we once again approve this measure as a resounding support to upholding the welfare of our fellow workers who have long suffered in neglect. Toward this end, the immediate consideration and approval of this proposed measure is hereby sought. Thank you very much at magandang hapon sa inyong lahat.
The Honorable Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend consideration on House Bill number 7719.
There's a motion to suspend consideration to the aforementioned bill. Is there any objection? Here's none. The motion is approved. The Honorable Floor Leader.
Speaker, I move that we consider on second reading House Bill number 8477 as contained in Committee Report 715, that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the measure.
The Secretary General, please proceed.
House Bill 8477, an act reapportioning the lone legislative district of the city of Iloilo.
The Honorable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate and recognize the author of the measure, the lady from Iloilo City, Representative Jam Baronda, to deliver a sponsorship speech.
The Honorable Baronda is recognized.
Thank
For
you,
response.
Mr. Speaker. Before I proceed, I would like to thank Speaker Lord Alan Velasco, Majority Floor Leader Martin Romualdez, and of course, Deputy Majority Fellow Ilonggo, Congressman Mike Arroyo for the support. Mr. Speaker, I would like to inform this august body that made this explanatory note serve as my sponsorship speech, Mr. Speaker. So with this, Mr. Speaker, I move for this House Bill number 8477 for your consideration of the body. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we join in the motion of the distinguished author to terminate the period of sponsorship and debate on the measure, there being no member who wishes to interpolate our sponsor.
There's a motion to terminate the sponsorship and the period of sponsorship and debate. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved. The Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
The motion to open the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. Speaker, there being no committee or individual amendments, I move that we terminate the period of amendments.
There's a motion to terminate the period of amendments. Chair hears no objection. Motion is approved.
Speaker, I now move that we vote on second reading on House Bill number 8477.
There is a motion to approve on second House Bill 8477 on second reading. As many as are in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
As many are opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 8477 is approved on second reading. The
Mr.
Honorable
Speaker.
Baronda, recognized.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, in behalf sa mga palangga na kung nga pumuluyo sang syudad sang Iloilo, kaupod sang isa man kay Ilonggo, kay Congressman Mikey Arroyo, nagapasalamat kid kita sang dako sa 18th Congress sa pagbuylog sa sini nga aton nga bill because it's been overdue since the time of then Speaker, Deputy Speaker Raul Gonzales and then Congressman Jerry Treñas. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Daghan salamat po, Congresswoman Baronda. The Honorable Floor Leader.
Speaker, I move that we suspend the session for a few minutes.
Session is suspended.
Onyx.
Session resumed. The Honorable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider on second reading House Bill number 8512 as contained in Committee Report 716 and direct the Secretary General to read the title of the bill. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is directed to read House Bill 8512.
House Bill 8512, an act granting the President of the Philippines the power to suspend the scheduled increases in Social Security System contribution rates, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 11199, otherwise known as the Social Security Act of 2018.
The Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Deputy Speaker, Representative Christine Singson Mihan. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Distinguished Deputy Speaker Singson Mihan is recognized. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader. Mr. Speaker, I move that the explanatory note of House Bill number 8317 be its sponsorship speech, Mr.
512. House Bill 8512. Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I move that we terminate the period of sponsorship and debate. So move, Mr. Speaker.
There's a motion to terminate the period of sponsorship and debate. Is there an objection? Chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments. So move, Mr. Speaker.
There's a motion to open the period of amendments. Is there an objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved. The Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no individual and committee amendments, I move that we terminate the period of individual and committee amendments.
There's
So
a
moved.
motion to terminate the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that we vote on second reading House Bill number 8512 as contained in Committee Report 716. So move, Mr. Speaker.
There's a motion to approve on second reading House Bill 8512. As many as are in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
As many are opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 8512 is approved on second reading. The Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the change of referral of the following measures. House Bill number 1334, providing for the Magna Carta for Environment and Natural Resources, from the Committee on Natural Resources to the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
House Bill number 2597 and 5178, Magna Carta for the Forest Rangers, from the Committee on Natural Resources to the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
Is there any objection on the change of referral? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
House Bill numbers 1434 and 2279, establishing a comprehensive Philippine environmental assessment system, from the Committee on Natural Resources to the Committee on Ecology.
There's a motion to change referral. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
House Bill number 3567, amending Section 9 of Presidential Decree 1586 by increasing the penalties thereof, from the Committee on Natural Resources to the Committee on Ecology.
There's a motion to change referral. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
House Bill number 1802, classifying bamboo as an unregulated forest product, from the Committee on Natural Resources to the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
There's a motion to change referral. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
House Bill number 5164, strengthening Executive Order number 193, or the National Greening Program and the Forest Protection Program, from the Committee on Natural Resources to the Special Committee on Reforestation.
There is a motion to change referral. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Motion is approved.
House Bill number 6009, amending Presidential Decree number 972 as amended by Presidential Decree number 1174, otherwise known as the Coal Mining Development Act of 1976, from the Committee on Natural Resources to the Committee on Energy.
There's a motion to change referral. Is there an objection? There being no objection, the motion is approved.
House Bill number 6020, providing for the maximum of benefits from finite minerals and mineral products, from the Committee on Natural Resources to the Committee on Ways and Means.
There is a motion to change referral. There being no objection, the motion is approved.
House Resolution number 1120, inquiry, the plan on Department of Environment and Natural Resources regarding the segregation, collection, transport, and disposal of used personal equipment from hospitals and households, from the Committee on Natural Resources to the Committee on Ecology.
This is the last. There's a motion to change Referral. If there are any objection, chair is none. Motion is approved. Session is suspended. Balik na. Hulay ka.
Session is resumed.
Madam Speaker, afternoon, Madam Speaker. I move that we include additional co-authors to House Bill numbers 8273, 8287, 8377, 8380, 8384, 8385, 8440, 8446, 8453, 8461, 8477, and 8512 as contained in the list to be submitted by the Committee on Rules. So moved, Madam Speaker.
There's a motion to include as additional co-authors to the stated House Bill numbers. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I now move that we open the privilege hour. So moved, Madam Speaker. With the leave of the House, considering that today is a Wednesday, Madam Speaker.
There's a motion to open the privilege hour. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I now move that we recognize the Honorable Gentleman from Party List AGAP, the Honorable Representative Rico Heron. So moved, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Rico Heron is hereby recognized.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, magandang hapon.
Please proceed.
Colleagues, good afternoon. I stand before you today on a matter of personal and collective privilege. I stand here in behalf of hog raisers and families who are dependent on the livestock industry as source of their livelihood. I also stand in behalf of food security and food availability for the Filipino people. If I can recall it right, more than a year ago, I stand into these Congress halls to speak about this formidable virus named African swine fever that could possibly swipe out the entire swine industry. The Philippines being highly vulnerable, and therefore we cannot be complacent in dealing this impending disaster. I even called out the LGUs and agencies concerned to protect the agricultural sector from annihilation, which undoubtedly can derail the nation's food security. This year, 2021, as we are overly dismayed with the continuous problem in COVID pandemic, the African swine fever is continuously causing much greater complications, now reaching the islands of Visayas and Mindanao. There are approximately 5 million hogs lost as a result of ASF protocol, and therefore only 2.5 million heads remaining. This caused the shortage of supply and its accompanying rise in market prices. With what is happening, we are now suffering, I should say, food crisis at early stage. Ang Luzon ay humaharap ngayon sa krisis sa pagkain, sanhi ng labis na kakulangan sa supply at napakataas na presyo ng kaninang baboy at iba pang produktong agrikultura. Mga suliraning resulta na rin ng ASF, sobrang importasyon, smuggling at pinsala ng mga nagdaang bagyo. This cannot be remedied by transport of hogs from Visayas and Mindanao to augment supply in Luzon, as it is still inadequate to bridge the supply-demand gap. And this cannot also be remedied by opening our market in importation. As a result thereof, prices of meat and agricultural products escalated due to scarcity of supply. Based on the latest report, prices of pork belly and ham have reached as high as 400 to 450 per kilo. The Department of Agriculture, whose primary task is to ensure food security and stability of supply and price of agricultural products in the country, has proposed another price freeze on pork, chicken, and vegetables as the prices continue to soar, allegedly due to market manipulation. Sa akin pong paningin, ay wala namang market manipulation, but the real status is talaga pong kakaunti na ang supply ng baboy kung karning baboy ang ating pag-uusapan, kung bakit tumataas ang presyo nito as the law of supply and demand says. Price freeze is temporary and very shallow approach to the problem of price increase. Mariin itong tinututulan ng mga magbababoy. Ang naging rekomendasyon ng Department of Agriculture bilang solusyon sa tumataas na mga bilihin. Sinasabing ito ay suicide sapagkat magiging sanhi lamang ito ng kawalan ng pag-asa sa mga nag-aalaga ng baboy, manok at mga magsasaka upang muling makabangon, makapag-alaga at di makapagtanim. The DA's proposal on price freeze did not even make consultation to the sector and its stakeholder. It did not consider the risk involved due to the effects of ESF to hog raisers that could lead to serious losses on livelihood. Ang pagtaas ng presyo ng karne sa merkado ay hindi nangangahulugan ng malaking pagkita ng mga nag-aalaga ng baboy. Sapagkat sa kanilang pagpasok sa pag-aalaga ng baboy na ito, kaakibat ang napakalaking risk o banta ng pagkalugi na kung sila'y tamaan, siguradong ubos pati ang kanilang puhunan. The government's policies on its eradication of ESF are misdirected. Adequate insurance coverage is not provided, and the indemnification for losses is grossly insufficient. The meager amount provided is only for the small holders. The culling of hogs within the prescribed perimeter radius is grossly unfair. Government has no mechanism to link with middlemen and therefore has no idea on their margin of profit and how they operate. This space between the farmers, raisers, and retailer is not explored, therefore not monitored, let alone supervised. The approach, therefore, should be driven on increasing local supply. Farmers should be given the incentive to produce more to balance the equation of supply and demand law. Instead of price freeze, government should focus on the farmer and the reason why he cannot and does not produce more. Importation, on the other hand, has been the usual fallback of DA without recognizing its effects to our farmers and hog raisers. Importation is supposed to augment, not to replace local supply, but because of tax incentives, poor monitoring, misdeclaration, even outright smuggling remains to be the unresolved problems in this area. Also included is the fact that imported meat is the source of ASF. With all has been said, the livestock industry remains to be the most ignored sector by the government in the agriculture. The questions are, paano ba natin matutulungan ang ating mga naghihirap na mga magsasaka, magbababoy at magmamanok? Saan sila kukuha ng ikabubuhay? Papaano ba sila makakabawi sa mga nawalang hanap buhay at ikabubuhay brought about by ASF, brought about by this pandemic? Paano sila makakabangon sa pagkakalugmok? I could say DA demonstrates its inability and betrays its mandate of ensuring food in every table of Filipino family. Before I end, I would like to encourage DA to show the gravity and effects of supply shortage. The public deserves to know the truth of the status of meat supply in the country. After all, this is the sector the Department of Agriculture is mandated to protect. Instead of ignoring criticisms, suggestions, and recommendations, government has to listen and give them importance to this sector is the true situation in the grassroots level. Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, ito po ang tunay na sitwasyon ng ating mga kababayan sa industriya ng pagbababuyan at agrikultura. Maraming salamat po at magandang hapon sa inyong lahat.
Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that the speech of Representative Heron be referred to the Committee on Rules.
Any objection?
Hello?
Hearing none, motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, there being no other member who wishes to avail of the privilege R, I move that we terminate the same.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Madam Speaker, I move that the explanatory note be...
Madam Speaker, I move that we suspend the session for a few minutes.
Session suspended. Session resumed. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we now consider on second reading House Bill number 8385 as contained in Committee Report 710, and that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the measure.
Secretary General is directed to read the title of House Bill number 8385.
House Bill 8385, an act promoting integrated urban agriculture in urban areas nationwide to address food security and appropriating funds therefore.
Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate and recognize the gentleman from Bukidnon, Assistant Majority Leader Manuel Zubiri, to sponsor the measure.
Madam Speaker, I move that the
Assistant
explanatory...
Majority Leader Manuel Zubiri. They are now recognized.
Maraming pong salamat, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I move that the explanatory note be the sponsorship speech of House Bill number 8385. I move, Madam Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, we join in the motion of Representative Zubiri that the explanatory note of the measure be adopted as a sponsorship speech.
Is there any objection? The Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Madam Speaker, I move that we recognize the gentleman from Bayan Muna, Representative Ferdinand Gaitet, for his manifestation on the measure.
Honorable Gaite is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Short manifestation on the proposed bill on urban agriculture under Committee Report number 710. Biro ko nga parang plantita bill ito. Na layunin ayon sa title is to promote integrated urban agriculture development in all metropolitan areas nationwide to address food security. I believe that food security is a paramount issue that we are facing today. But urban agriculture will not probably address the issue of food security. Ang kailangan pa rin sa paniniwala ng kinatawang ito, Madam Speaker, ay ang mahalagang usapin ng reformang agraryo, ang totoong rural development at kung saan ang ating pagkain, ang ating livestock at iba pang mga pangangailangan na ngayon ay hindi na abot kaya ng ordinaryong mamamayan ay ngayon ay sana'y makakatulong. Ngunit yung food security as in objective, I believe, is difficult to address. Nevertheless, Mr. Speaker, based on the proviso that first, in Section 4 on coverage, it states in line 15 that the utilization of idle lands for urban agriculture purposes shall not be used as grounds for the eviction of informal settler families occupying the lands, and the other concern that raising of poultry and livestock shall be limited to urbanized areas, and all livestock raising shall be subject to health and safety standards and regulations issued by the Department of Health, DNR, and other agencies, are welcome to this representation. So, Mr. Chair, in addressing those concerns, we believe that this can pass muster, and this representative has no current objection on the proposed bill, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, Mr. Sponsor. Salamat po.
The manifestation of Honorable Gaite is hereby noted. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we recognize the gentleman from Magsasaka Party List, Representative Argel Joseph Kabatbat, for his manifestation on the measure.
Honorable Kabatbat is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. We in Magsasaka Party List supports the measure, and I do hope that we are passing this measure not to have unintended consequences like distracting us from the real problem. It's not really urban agriculture, it's our rural agriculture that needs our focus and attention. Well, Madam Speaker, I hope that in passing this measure, we are not losing our focus, making us comfortable about ourselves, na kapag plantito-plantita ka na, nakakatulong ka na talaga sa ating mga farmers. Ang totoong tulong na magagawa talaga ng ating mga kababayan sa Kamaynilaan ay bilhin yung produkto na galing sa ating mga magsasaka. Support local. But then again, I hope that this measure will raise the awareness among our kababayans in the cities and in Manila about the importance of agriculture, not just urban agriculture, but agriculture in general. So with that, Madam Speaker, I interpose no objection about the passing of this measure, and I hope that we will get the consequences that we want out of this measure. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The manifestation of Honorable Kabatbat is hereby noted. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, our distinguished sponsor likewise wishes to add some manifestations on the measure.
Madam Speaker, since I am in the agricultural business and I am definitely with them in rural development, Madam Speaker, I believe this bill, an act promoting integrated urban agriculture, is like Japan. More or less, hydroponics, for example, it's a way of producing produce, for example, in buildings, in high-rise buildings, and they have stores below the buildings. This will help augment the food security in urban areas. So it is nothing controversial. I believe they have patterned this after the urban agriculture businesses in Japan, Madam Speaker. So I believe this is a good move for our country. So I believe this bill will help us in giving us a better food security, especially in urban areas and in times of, calamities, wherein the produce in the rural areas cannot reach the urban areas, Madam Speaker. That is all, Madam Speaker. Marami pong salamat. Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, there being no other member wishes to make any manifestations or to interpolate our sponsor, I move that we terminate the period of sponsorship and debate.
Motion to terminate the sponsorship and debate. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
There's a motion to open the period of amendments. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Madam Speaker, there being no committee or individual amendments, I move that we terminate the period of amendments.
There's a motion to terminate the period of amendments. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Madam Speaker, I now move that we vote on second reading on House Bill number 8385.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill number 8385 is approved on second reading. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, on the part of the majority, I move that we elect the following House members. Representative Jose Gay G. Padiernos as member of the following committees: Committee on Energy and Committee on Games and Amusements. Honorable Lawrence R. Defensor as member of the Committee on Energy, and Honorable Emmanuel Tawi Billones as member of the Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources. I so move, Madam Speaker.
Is there any objection to the election of the members called by the Majority Leader? There being none, motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we suspend the session until Monday, February 1, 2021 at 3 p.m. I so move, Madam Speaker.
Session is suspended until February 1 at 3 p.m.
Text kita.